Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
We're live.
Know that.
Welcome back to Hot Kopics episode 2. My brother JR James Redmond in the building. How are we, sir?
Absolutely marvellous, my mate. Absolutely marvellous. Hey,
cheers, buddy.
Let me get the shot of it. So, bam,
Is that a nice copper? Let's get a little review.
I'll give it a rating out of 5, yeah. Listen, it's not quite a Mama Redmond's cup of tea, because Mama Redmond makes some very, very impressive cup of teas, if I do say so myself, but still impressive nonetheless. I'm going to give it a very solid 4 out of 5.
Oh, I was going to say out of 10. Alright, no, I'll rate that. Right, this is Hot Kopics episode 2. Today James is in a blue Liverpool shirt. How do you explain that one?
So basically, he looked at me as if I'm some sort of weirdo when you probably forget that goalkeepers and stuff like that have wore blue shirts before. So what is your issue?
Okay.
Yes, I remember distinctly Pepe Reina in a blue top.
I think it was purple, bro.
Nah,
Pink?
it was blue.
Green?
It was
No?
blue. There's definitely,
We'll
honestly,
have to look that up.
I bet you can find a Liverpool kit that's blue. Honestly, I bet you can. And you still supported them, didn't you? And you still support them now, so it is.
That's true.
Still nice top, though. Listen, I don't know who. Someone sent me and I can't remember who it was, otherwise I'd shout them out, but
Yeah.
nice one, the fella.
Speaking of shout outs, Fox Biscuits. We've got the Fox Melts.
Want to give us a sponsor,
So fella
fella?
Melts. Give them a little dip.
These are heavy as well, to be fair. Oh, don't want the biscuits to fall in.
Yeah. Yeah, give us a shout, Fox. Do you know what I mean? Fox is.
Easy.
Heavy them. Right, let's get into the first hot
Imagine
topic.
heavy them.
It's been a great weekend, to be honest, in both of our social lives. We were just having a chat then about what we've been up to at the weekend and also the football. Some big news today. Henderson, on the back of the amazing Norwich win, which we will touch on, but Henderson now has a new contract.
That is phenomenal.
Love it, son! Love it!
You talk about
Love
good
it, son.
news. Like, good news is a war ending. Good news is stuff like this. But this is great news. Fantastic news. Henderson signing a new contract. It was the #1 priority. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's not that he's the best player. He's not the best technically. He's not even the best in the midfield. But when you talk about importance, and people overestimate experience, people overestimate attitude, and it's not just about how good you are at your feet. The reason why Henderson can put himself in the conversation with the best midfielders in the league is because of perseverance.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I wouldn't have been saying this about Hendo. When Hendo first got given the captaincy, I weren't sitting there saying, oh, he's the one who replaces Steven Gerrard, oh, he is so great. I weren't saying that. I didn't like Jordan Henderson. Liked him as a person, pretty sure he's sound. You know what I mean? Does good things.
What year would you say you switched from growing to
The
really
start
like
of the season when we probably got... It was probably halfway through the season when we got to the Champions League final.
Was it that late for you?
Yeah, it was...
For me, it was when the Gerrard slip game.
No.
When he got sent off against Chelsea. Really?
Not a
I
chance.
thought he had a good season that year. But anyway,
He had a good
signing
season.
new
No,
deal.
he had a good season, but then he had a few poor seasons. He was a very savage passer. He never made us better. He makes us better now.
Yeah.
The win ratio says that, so you
That's
can't
good,
ignore
man.
that, man.
So amazing news to get him tied down. Also, Mo Salah, hopefully this week getting tied down as well, which would round off 5 incredible, you could call them signings, these contracts, in Alisson, Fabinho, Trent, who's the other one? Van Dijk, now Salah and Henderson. For me, our most important 5 players. Great work.
Listen, for all of the things that I say about FSG in terms of what they do wrong, you've just got to give them the credit where credit is due.
Look how happy we are for it.
All them players were on 2-year remaining deals, and I'm thinking, how do they get these deals over the line just one after another so quick? That's what they've done. That's what they've never messed about or anything like that. They've looked at the players, they've gone, oh yeah, you're important to us. Oh yeah, you mean a lot to us. We're going to give you what you need. And it's nice because with Genie leaving and stuff like that, you know, it leaves a question of FSG's loyalty maybe to certain players, but this is proven to our captain as well, and we heard them rumours a few weeks ago about how he was probably going to, you know, Atletico Madrid were sniffing about, PSG were sniffing about.
That was a madness.
Henderson
Robbie
would go to
talking
Arsenal.
about that.
Henderson
I was
would
like,
go to
leave
Arsenal.
it off Robbie.
Henderson would not go to
No.
Arsenal. He'd make them better, but he wouldn't go there. However, it's what you need. I think Henderson right now, he's there, man. You know, even in terms of what he wants, in terms of hunger, You need that player in your dressing room, so I'm absolutely buzzing that he's got that new contract, and he deserves it, and so do all the other players. You know, when you talk about the most important, Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, Salah, and Hendo all come into mind. And they're all important. Trent, of course. Everyone's important, but I'm talking, you know, if we lose Robbo right now, and we don't have Robbo for the rest of the season, God forbid, then I still think we could win the league with this starting 11, replacing Shimikas. But if we don't have Fabinho, I don't.
That's so true. Let's talk briefly about the Norwich game then. I mean,
whoosh!
Some incredible goals.
Not
the best quality apart from Salah's one really, but some incredible moments in the game. 3 points, the perfect way to start the season. Liverpool fans were incredible in that away end.
Sensational. The amount of videos I got sent from Norwich fans and Liverpool fans who were in the stadium, it was brilliant. I even put one of them on my story and they were singing the Bobby Firmino. Yeah. Mate, football is back. Any stadium, do you know when United were smashing Leeds 5-1? I will not lie to you. You don't like to see United winning, but the gaff that was going on in there was amazing. The United fans turned up. You've just got to get... Even the Leeds fans, until they were getting smashed, they were there as well.
I very, very rarely give Manchester United any compliments, right?
Yeah.
However, right, the best thing they could have done before that game was unveil their new signing in front of the fans. And that's what they did. Varane comes out, everyone's going mad. And that's how you G the fans up before a game, bro. That was very tactical, actually. Probably the most tactical Ollie has ever been in the dugout at United, to be fair.
It wouldn't have been Ole's decision, it would have been higher up than Ole. You know, Ole could have sort of about that stuff. No, they would have, Martin.
But talk to me in particular about, I mean, listen, you've seen the highlights 100 times. The goals were great. Salah becomes the first person to score in 5 opening day PLs in the season. Incredible achievement there. Firmino scores that 8,000th goal. Jota gets off the mark. But talk to me about Alisson's save. Because if that goes in, things do get a bit nervy.
I just can't believe everyone isn't on the same notion as me and you about Alisson being a world-class goalkeeper. And I don't just think he's world-class. I think you can easily put him in top 3. But let's just say world-class. Let's say top 10. I'd say top 10 goalkeepers are all world-class. So let's just go with that. If there's a group of people, which I've seen these group of people, especially around the time when he had a bit of a slip-up last year, to suggest that he is not world-class, I just think, what are you smoking? Because it's certainly not something that's healthy, and it's something that I cannot be going near anytime soon, because I will tell you now, that is next level budge. Bro, how the hell do you go with that statement and say he's not world-class? Overall, we don't win a Champions League without Alisson.
Yeah, or a Super Cup or a World Club Cup.
And name me one thing that Alisson isn't good at, because he's good with the ball at his feet, he's good at shot stopping, he doesn't shut the fuck up, he's just he's a presence. How many people,
I can't think of it, he's great at scoring goals.
And he's a great goal scorer.
You know, we didn't need him on
Anyone who thinks Ederson's better than him is mad as well, because Ederson is consistently, not consistently, because I'm going to make it sound like he makes a mistake every week, like Bale Leno or something. Not that, he's not that. He's class, do you know what I mean? But Ederson's one of the best in the world. However, one thing I will suggest is that Alisson's better, proves it for Brazil, and Alisson won 3 Golden Gloves in one season, for goodness sake. Let's put some respect.
I don't think that's ever been done by a goalkeeper.
Of course it hasn't, because I haven't heard it before, and even if it has, even if it has, not by any goalkeeper that's around right now. No. And let's talk about the goalkeepers that are around right now. Buffon's just retired, he never done it. Neuer,
Buffon's back at Parma.
Well, he might as well retire. Either way, Neuer, he hasn't done it. Friggin' Donnarumma hasn't, and Jan Oblak, you know, these type of goalkeepers, they haven't got to that level. Alisson won us the Champions League. You notice when he's not there as well, he makes the defence better. So, to anyone who suggests he's a world class, that Norwich performance proved you wrong.
Absolutely.
3 saves, actually.
Some roadworks going on downstairs. Don't listen to that. But let's get into the second hot topic this week. And I wanted to specifically talk about Philipe Coutinho, and actually the rise and fall of Philipe Coutinho. And why do I say that? Let's go back to January 2018. Philipe Coutinho is probably on the back of 6 months of the best form of his Liverpool career. I think in that period he scores over 10 goals, over 10 assists. In some games he's wearing the captain's armband. Him, Salah, Mane and Firmino had this little square going on with 4 points to it. and it was sensational football. And that's why Barcelona then gave us the money they gave us for him, because they're thinking, wow, what a player, we need him on our team. You know, he's probably dreamed about coming to Barcelona all his life. We're gutted, but we reinvest the money correctly. And that is surely the pinnacle of his form in his career so far. Let's not forget, he was at Inter Milan. Rafa Benitez sold him to us when he was at Inter. We buy him for 8.5 million, we sell him to Barcelona for 145 million, okay? Now, Barcelona buy him, they give him the big number 7 shirt. You know, it's Coutinho's big entrance, he goes halfway through the season, forces his way out, but in a way, thank God he did, because that allowed us to go and buy Virgil van Dijk the next week, and then look what he did for us. So thank God, in a way, it was January. I know I shouldn't tap the table when I'm making points, because the mic, he spoke to me about that. But I'm just passionate, because he gets the number 7, he goes there, 2 or 3 weeks go by and he's not really setting it on fire. And, you know, the Barca fans are making a few grumbles. All of a sudden, they go out and spend another 75 to 100 million for Griezmann. He comes in, and all of a sudden, number 7 shirt goes to Griezmann. So now Coutinho has joined the club as the main man, but at the time they're never going to be the main man when Messi is still there. However, and Suarez, but he was still doing his thing, and then Griezmann comes in, takes the 7, he gets shoved out to 14, and then it starts to tumble down a bit more, and it's no good. But then, here's the key part, he goes from 7 to 14, and then on loan to Bayern Munich. They don't want him anymore. He goes on loan to Bayern Munich, he then comes on for Bayern Munich against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final, scores against them, wins the Champions League with Bayern Munich, his first one. Can he claim to have a huge play in the whole campaign? Probably not, but he did score against his own team. He then goes back to Barcelona, where he hasn't played for months and months and months and months, and now he does not even have a squad number at Barcelona. He doesn't have a squad number. I've seen Robbie talking about 17 million to bring him to Arsenal. How would you describe his last kind of 3 years and what's happened, and ultimately, would you ever take him back?
I wouldn't take him back now, because I just think there's better options out there. It's actually nothing to do with loyalty or anything like that. He moved to Barcelona, it was actually a sound choice at the time, to be fair. Regardless what you want to say, it was a lot of money for Liverpool as well. We benefited massively. I don't have no ill will. I mean, the injuries and stuff like that happened, but listen, he was the best Coutinho at Liverpool I saw was in them final months, so I can't give any discredit in terms of effort and whatnot. Coutinho's a baller. What Coutinho has got, you do not lose. You do not lose what he has got, even with a long-term injury. He's never relied on pace, he's relied on intelligence, trickery, and that just quite simply does not go. Pure tech. He can that shot that we all love so much, that made Coutinho, Philipe Coutinho, that's still there, that's still in his repertoire, that just doesn't disappear. He'll be able to do that till he's 50. It's just Coutinho, it's one of them, it just can happen. Even you see the way Barcelona have moved since then, the fact that they can go out there and spend some 100+ million on any player, that just goes to show, doesn't it, that when Coutinho came in, he was supposed to be the main man at the time, but Barcelona are impatient, so they just went out and got Griezmann. They already had Dembele, who they wanted to turn into a star. They had Messi. Yep. They would have had youth products that they wanted to come through, maybe. Even Pedri. So it's like, there's all different factors that come into it. He then goes to Bayern Munich. It doesn't shed it, does fine, but he never had an elite season.
I remember him having a good game for Bayern, I think, against Spurs.
And against Barca, and then he didn't even start that game against Barca. He came on and scored. So it's
he scored 2 as a sub?
He scored 2, so Jesus. It's one of them, like...
I thought it was 1, it's 2, wasn't it?
No, Coutinho scored twice in that game, so... Wow. It hasn't worked out, but that just can happen. And if you look at the disarray of Barcelona, it looks like that Aguero isn't even going to be playing there, so that's another disaster. You know, you're going to be talking about other players, so Coutinho is just... He's a part of a mess that isn't just a mess for him. And if the squad numbers and stuff, you might just think, we're paying you that much dough, we're not going to sign you on for this season, because there's no guarantee you're going to be that Coutinho. Yeah. That's their point of view. But if you ask me, if Coutinho gets consistent football week in, week out, I still think he can be a great player.
He can, that's summed up beautifully there, James, I have to say. He is part of a mess that isn't his own mess, but he's almost inherited this mess where he's on so much money, which I think is about 600. They can't afford to keep him / register him.
Yep.
and it means that other players like Piqué has had to take a dramatic pay cut just so that they can register Depay, Eric Garcia, and another kid. Sergio Aguero still isn't registered, but he's out for 10 weeks with a groin injury. And it's just so many cloak and dagger decisions that just really take the shine off such an amazing club. Because listen, obviously we've done them in the Champions League, we've got their number really whenever we play Barca, I feel, apart from that Nou Camp night obviously. But you can't deny how amazing they've been to watch in the last 15 years.
Do you think they're finished? Yeah, let me put it this way. So when this is the mad thing about it, Messi actually leaving Barcelona and whatnot. The fact that we're going to be talking about in 20 years' time, when our kids ask us, hey, Dad, who's the greatest player of all time, and we say a name of the man Lionel Messi, well, Sadio Mane for me, but you know, your kids, for example, you'll probably say Lionel Messi. So when they ask that question, it should be, yeah, he was at Barcelona for all these years and he smashed it, and then they go, who's Barcelona, Dad? And it's not that they won't know who Barcelona is, but with the way they're going, the risky moves they make, you've seen crazier things in football. So you're talking about one of the greatest players of all time, who became the greatest player of all time at Barcelona, and then when it comes to them conversations of, wait, he played for who? That's mad, because that shouldn't be even a thought. And I don't think that's going to happen, but weirder things have
happened. It was a bit like, you know, if you were watching football in the 70s, and in the 50s, Huddersfield or someone were winning everything, and then in the 70s you go, who's that? Time moves on. But the unique thing about Messi, and you have to say Ronaldo in the same conversation, is like, they are playing for a team and they've both left their teams now, and now we're seeing the decline. Were the teams that good, or was it just those two that were that good for that period?
No, they're just that damn good. People like to try and sugarcoat things.
Put them in
Messi
brackets.
smashed it against English teams. Smashed it. He killed us.
I was going to say apart from Liverpool, obviously he scored
Still
that
scored an amazing free kick.
But that was only his last ever game.
And he actually still had a good game in the 4-0 loss.
That was his only good game against Liverpool though, in about 5 games.
Not really, the 4-0 loss, he was their best player.
4-0, mate.
Doesn't matter. We lost 3-0 the week previous and we played well, didn't we? So
did.
it's not always the full story. Messi had a very sound game, never done nothing wrong, had some very good chances, but if it weren't for the best goalkeeper in the world, in Alisson, then he might have scored them. So there's many variables that come into it. Do you get what I'm saying? Messi is a legend, Ronaldo is a legend, and that is because of perseverance and consistency. If you are consistently good, then you are great. The reason why many people will not put Mane's and Salah's in the same conversation with Messi is because they weren't consistently good. They might have always been sound, but they never done it on that level. So how can you say, if they're not as consistently good as these guys, then how are they as great as them?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Different levels.
They are levels. But I think you had a question at the start of that, was are they finished?
Yes.
I feel like...
And then I went off on a tangent. Apologies about that. People probably going to happen quite a few times. Oh my God.
Like, comment and subscribe.
Exactly.
I feel like, are they finished? Integrity-wise, from the true football purist viewpoint, yes, they are absolutely finished. But the global market and the fans who are not legacy fans, as the Super League would call it, they want the new generation of fans, they don't care about the integrity lost by Barcelona, getting in the Super League, being in such a financial disarray. They don't care about that. They just want to see the big names still at the club. So in a way, until they sort this financial mess out, which is going to take some time, bro, and it might mean that they don't win La Liga, they don't win the Champions League for 3 or 4 years, I think we're going to see them back in a big way. But I do think there's so many problems off the pitch right now that has to leak in on the pitch. And they've got so many big players, so much big money.
Can you just say as well, dead quick before we move on, these aren't just like, it's not like a hole in the roof that you can just get prepared. Like, these are in millions and billions of pounds of debt.
Like
they have got they can't get players over the line. One of their new star signings already done a presentation in Sergio Aguero. He's not going to play. Maybe because of injuries, but it's also because of the fact he's not registered.
You can't.
But are you ready for Barcelona to finish? The Finnish lad, at least for now. They can always come back, but a lot of things have got to go right for that. So I'm going to leave. If you're telling me I might put my house on this, I'd say they're finished.
Fair enough. Love that. Good hot Kopic that. And also, if you want us to discuss any hot Kopics, normally we do a couple of Liverpool ones, Liverpool Football Club ones, maybe a European football one. And then we like to do something at the end which is a bit more conversational around both of us, a bit more personality stuff.
Obviously in the comments, get
let
your
us know in the
suggestions.
comments for your Hot Kopics. The
Get
last
your
one
suggestions.
today, which I wanted to speak about, was what's it like being a content creator in the city of Liverpool? Because for years, decades, centuries, there's been famous people from Liverpool, right, that have been on TV, that have done really well. When I was growing up, Salah, my mum would say, "There's Salah."
He's got a Belgian Scouse accent, though, doesn't he?
Or she'd say, you know, we'd see someone on X Factor. Famous people and talented people, the Beatles obviously, have always come from Liverpool, right? But in this new age that we're in now, I do feel like, and I'm not just saying it because you're here, but you almost represent like a new wave of creators from the city. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, possibly.
But what is it like being a content creator in Liverpool? Have you had any knockbacks? Have you
You know
been
what?
encouraged? Have you been...
It's a great question, and the reason why it's a great question is because what YouTube or content creating has always been looked at in Liverpool. We know it's not the most luxurious area, there's some very nice parts in Liverpool, but there's also some very rough parts, and in them rough parts, for example, I grew up in a rather rough area myself. Stuff like that,
you grew up?
stuff like around Bootle, by where Carragher lives, around them sort of ways. So when I grew up, that isn't really supported. Little fun fact, actually, I've never said this. When I was 12 or 13, I wanted to be a gaming YouTuber. So I used to love watching the gaming YouTubers, as I'm sure if you're around my age, you might have as well. Like whether it was FIFA or I was a little Minecraft player back then as well. You know, like I'm not gonna lie, I might get a little bit
Is there any
for that.
clips?
But what?
Any clips we could see?
No, there's no YouTube videos, and the reason why there weren't any YouTube videos is because I was scared to get bullied or I was scared to get things, and I also didn't really know what I was doing. I was a very stupid person, either way. Combination of things of why I never actually went for it, and the one thing I don't want in a world where it is rapidly changing every day, like you can always have the naive older people who say, oh, this is nonsense and this isn't going to work. Well, if you were saying that 10 years ago, you're looking pretty silly now, because even though Sky Sports and that is all still up there, YouTube weren't even in the same conversation. If you look at views, that they speak for themselves, numbers speak for themselves at the end of the day. This is an industry that is rapidly growing, not just the football industry, but just in general, it's YouTube, you know what I'm saying? I would love it, and one thing I like about Scousers, not me, just Scousers in general, is that they're great people. Everyone who comes to Liverpool, right? Everyone who comes to Liverpool say their best night out or whatever it may be is Liverpool because the people are just so great. Whereas we're painted in a bit of a negative picture, but no, we're honest and we agree with our opinions. We don't like the fact we get the piss taken out of us, but the end of not banter's sound, but just in general with things that go beyond this conversation. So I would love for these talented people from this city, great people, to go out there. There's way more people funnier than me. People say, wow, James, you're crazy. There is crazier, more funnier, more wittier, quicker people than me. And I would love them to get into the game as well. Younger people and older people, because there's so much talent within the city. And this is just me kind of saying, it's something I shouldn't be afraid of no more, because the world is getting into that now. Most people do, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, your own little thing. But just go for it. Even on TikTok, I don't use TikTok, so I couldn't name you the names, but there's some really good Scouse TikTokers now growing on that platform, getting 100,000 followers, stuff like this. So now it is growing, but I want people who want to do YouTube or whatever to not be scared of that. So that's why I just go for it, but the only issue is people only kind of respect it when you start to do well. So for me, I don't brag about these things, just personally I don't think it's anything to brag about. But I can say I've got 60,000 Instagram followers. That's more followers than the average person by quite a considerable amount. Therefore, they're going to see me doing well. They're going to see 10,000 likes on my Insta post and say, wow, he's doing alright, isn't he? But that's just when you get to that point. It's scarier on the come up, but I say enjoy the come up because that's where you find yourself. And it's a passion, and when you look back at it, it's only all the more beautiful, lad. So I'm made up that you asked me that question because it's a good thing to delve into.
I remember when we first met, probably about a year ago now, when I came to Anfield to interview you, and I kind of like took it on upon myself to connect with you because obviously I knew so much about you already. And then we filmed, did you remember that chat we had? When it was almost like, we've had a lot of chats, bro, but we had this kind of chat at the pub, and obviously we filmed like some sick content, go back and watch that. But then I feel like we had this chat as well where I was asking you you know, what's your plan for this, this and this, now you've got all this, and not that you didn't know where you were going, but I felt like at the time, and this is us just speaking openly now, but at the time I was thinking like, he's got everything there, but I feel like, I don't know, take it over from there.
I get you. Well, when we met, I had 5,000 YouTube subscribers.
And that was a year ago.
That was a year ago, and now I'm closing. I'm flirting with 50k, which is just unbelievable. Like that's halfway closer to a plaque.
That's
Do you know what I mean? So, but that's why I like to give credit to the people around me as well, such as yourself, such as other people that I've met through this, and my friends, of course. Because without them people, it just doesn't happen. And I'm a very honest person. I can take credit for, oh look what I've done, but you learn things off people. We learn things off each other. This is what I hate about today's age. People don't realise there's room for everyone.
Trust me, bro.
There really is room for everyone. No, it's not competition. Mate, I come on this channel, I've been on Red Men TV, I've even, I wear Kopics merch.
Yeah.
Because I love the boys in Kopics, big up to them, and I wear that all the time because I like to support them. Anfield Agenda, I think he's doing a great job himself. He works hard, he puts the hours in. People who, whether you like the person or you don't, if they're working hard or something, just respect it, do you know what I mean? And do your own thing, because then you'll realise when you start doing your own thing, you won't care about what they're saying.
Yeah.
And that's just the matter. But with me, what was the question? I always ramble off into loads. So like from there, like where I was a year ago, really. So all it was with me is I was at a point financially where I weren't doing too well, and I was only trying to find a job so I could fund YouTube. I've been wanting to do this even before I met you, but I just never had the funding to do it well, and I didn't want to do it if I couldn't do it well.
Yeah.
So I needed stuff like a new phone, equipment, stuff like this. And then I ended up getting a new phone, and I was like, right, that's the start of it, boss. And then I started meeting the right people. So then you get that creative energy as well. That helps, you know, you can't deny it does. And it's just consistent. What did I say before? Why are Messi and Ronaldo so great? Because they're consistently good. If you can be consistently good, you're not going to be consistently perfect, but if you can be consistently good, the likes of KSIs and stuff like that, that's why they're great.
Yeah.
Because they've always been consistently good, with mistakes, but learn from the mistakes. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, man.
That's the most important
I
thing.
feel like looking from the outside, it's definitely growing in the city more. There's a lot more expression, especially
Definitely.
online. But what you were saying earlier about older people as well, I could go into the Park Pub, for example, where we filmed the Kop TV fan cams, and it's almost as if like every single Scouser who's in there having a bevy, if they had their own YouTube channels, they probably have 100k all of them. You know what I mean?
No,
They're,
definitely.
They've all got mad stories.
This,
and like one of the things,
stories is
the
amazing.
storytelling is like all my family are Scouts. Yeah, I've grown up with not having a Scouse accent, being a massive Liverpool fan in London, going to school with all Arsenal fans when Henry was winning them the league. It was tough, bro.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like now I've come back here, it feels at home for me because I mean, from the day I was born, I had a Liverpool bib on me, and as you know, I'm obsessive with stats, numbers.
We're in a choice.
It weren't a choice, but now I'm doing. Look, I've got a channel called Hot TV, and I live in Liverpool, so it goes to show like if you just. You know, I've got a cousin, right? He's just about to have a baby. He's a Scouser. It's from Verzachely. And he is...
Born in Verzachely.
He's now living in Manchester with his missus, and they've just had a kid. Beautiful Harry Jude Gilday. Love that. But there's a debate about, because he lives in Manchester, I don't know if he's going to be in Liverpool.
I don't like that.
Hang on. You know... I was in London, like, you
Nah.
can't, that argument doesn't
You're talking
work.
about the tribal thing that Scousers tend to have, and it's something that I don't agree with. I have met, if you're a great person, I am going to want to learn more, like I'm going to want to speak to you more because I am intrigued by you. If you're a Scouser who doesn't really care about life and stuff like that, I'm probably not going to speak to you because, with all due respect, I'm probably not going to gain anything from you, you're probably not going to gain anything from me. So let's just leave the pointless altercation that we could have here. And it's not like thinking you're too big for anyone, but surround yourself by people who make you feel good. And likewise, try and make them feel good. That otherwise life's going to be shit, and it's going to just suck. So, like, in this situation, it's good to know people all around and just be open. And this is why I kind of don't like the tribal Scouser thing. For banter, it's funny, but it's like... It's it's just not. It's not real.
At the end of the day, it's being about
it's
it's being a good person, isn't it?
being a good person, number one. That's the most important.
Some of the characters that you meet at the game, we're gonna get some on as well to the podcast to give us some stories and stuff like that. But the Scouse humour, and you can tell now why there are so many content creators coming into the scene now, because
you have to.
Like even I've seen TikToks like you were saying, where just because they've got a Scouse accent, it's getting millions of views. People have such an obsession with like the accent. So add that to a funny storyteller, and it's just like people want to watch that. That's why I have to say credits to, and you know, as someone who's coming outside of the city, coming into it, I have to pay respect to the football guys, the Redmens, the Anfield Raps, you know, people in the city.
With them, they've been doing this for.
So you have to tip your hat to the legends in the game, but then also the comedy side, like the Leggett podcast, Have a Word pod, Billy Moore's pod with Darren Smith on there. These are sensational watches because they're funny people, these Scousers. So
but they're also part of the community. People might assume because they've got a podcast, they're just these are a part of
probably missed out on there as well.
Billy Moore goes to my gym and he trains kids for free. In fact, you can go every Tuesday and Thursday. I might need to confirm that though. Message me if you're interested, and I'll find out more information. He takes in people. I think that there's a certain requirement, like you've got to be under 21.
I think I've seen him talking about
but it's a free session though, so if you fit the criteria, you can go for free. And the Radler's a great place to go, so I really would recommend it. He's a great person to just gain knowledge of. And he does the Leggett podcast, amazing story. In fact, fun fact, I done my GCSEs on his story. He came into my high school and he told his story. And then I done my GCSE, actually was my best grade as well, got a 7, which is the equivalent to an A, you know. I'm not, listen, might have failed maths, but I've got me English though, so nice one for that, Andy. Better people, so there's so much interest in these type of conversations.
And we want to get them on, we definitely want to expand. But let us know if you're enjoying Hot Kopics podcast, episode 2. We're going to be back every single Monday. We meet in the morning, get it uploaded by the afternoon. We don't mess around. But go and follow James Redmond. Go and subscribe to him if you haven't already.
Swear tapping on the table. You're taking that myth now.
Sorry. See, it's good to have him on. He keeps me in line. And then also subscribe to the Kop TV if you haven't already. You won't miss anything if you press the bell. You find Hot Kopics. We've got a fan cam this weekend. We're back at Anfield in the Premier League for the first time.
Come and say hello outside the park pub if you're there, because that's where we.
Yeah, to be fair, James draws a crowd, so whenever we're doing the fan cams this season, there's going to be, as there has been.
And I'm always in a good mood at Anfield as well, so definitely come and say hello. Like I'm not, but like people are probably
50 quid a picture though, so.
Oh, nah, it's 100, like, but still, we move.
Yeah.
That's a joke, by the way. Just that's a joke, by the way. Before these Twitter fillers clip me up and say, "Oh my God, James is charging pictures for top."
No,
hey, listen, not even a chat. Do you know? I think sometimes, like when I go to town and that, I charge the quid for these photos. I'd make a solid like. I'd pay more than a Joe Bone, I'd pay for the rest of me bevies as well.
Love that. Right, listen, like, comment and subscribe. Let us know what you want to talk about next week in Hot Kopics. We'll obviously be back on the channel throughout the week. As we look ahead to Burnley. Take care, much love, and we'll see you soon.
Peace. That was a belter show, that.
Whoa. Just before you go,
don't forget, give us a like, drop us a comment and subscribe to the Kop TV.
the voice of football's most famous stand.